Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, and welcome back to another Mill Creek Monday. Today I'm going to be taking a look at The Girl in the Crawlspace. But before I get into my review, I wanted to thank Mill Creek for sending me this copy to review for you guys. I'm going to put their links in the description box below. They are definitely stepping up their game. Now, The Girl in the Crawlspace is a 2018 film which runs approximately 77 minutes and is written and directed by John Oak Dalton. Now, as a director, the only thing I could find was Scarecrow County, which sounds pretty fun to me. Of course, with his writing, he wrote a lot of kind of like B horror movies. Jurassic Prey, Black Mass, and Peter Rottentail, just to name a few. Now this stars Tom Cherry as Woody. He was in Grove Lake. Joni Durian as Kristen. She was in Ouija Room, and that should sound very familiar to you guys, but I will explain. And Babysitter Massacre, which should also sound pretty familiar to you guys. And finally, John Bradley Hambrick as Johnny. He was in Ouija Room, also, and Scare Waves. Now, a brief synopsis on this. Kristen and Johnny go back to Kristen's hometown, where she takes up a practice in psychiatry after being in LA for years. Her husband, Johnny, is a screenplay writer for Hollywood. And being the typical Hollywood kind of douchebag kind of guy, he was into coke for a long time, cheating on his wife, stuff like that. Now, Kristen has been tasked with getting to the bottom of the girl who got pulled out of a crawl space after so many years. She was supposedly kidnapped and, treated really badly, and they want her to kind of, like I said, get to the bottom of it. A lot of the town folk think she's crazy and that a lot of things didn't really happen to her. They look at her kind of like she's nuts. She's very quiet, and she becomes one of Kristen's main problems. The other character, Woody, is a sheriff in the town who is basically getting Kristen to take on her case. Now, as Kristen is establishing herself back in her small town, the girl in the crawl space kind of hangs around her husband, Johnny, who is supposed to be working on a screenplay from where they are now, to basically keep working. Instead, he decides to go, instead of going to like a Narcotics Anonymous group because he was a recovering cokehead, he basically goes to a group playing a similar game to Dungeons and Dragons, which is really, really weird. But the people there know the girl in the crawl space because she's hanging around Johnny, and apparently she had played a lot of D&D. Does it have a lot to do with the film? Not really, but I thought it was an interesting part of the story. So basically, Kristen is trying to find out, like I said, getting to the bottom of the girl in the crawl space, if these things really did happen. She's trying to get clues out of her. She's trying to find out if she's crazy or not. And basically, if she was kidnapped, and it seems like she was, who did it? So this is basically a whodunit. I like this one. It is a very slow burn. It is not really... The horror in it is not really very horrifying, although you see this mask right there. The person who kept her in the crawl space wore this mask, basically. So, of course, the girl has no idea who he really is. So, like I said, it's kind of a whodunit. Now back to Ouija Room and the Babysitter Massacre. My buddy Hobbs lives in, well, I don't want to say where he lives, but the people that do this movie and Ouija Room and the Babysitter Massacre are all from Ohio. And a lot of them worked on both of those two films. Basically, the director of Ouija Room is the executive producer of this film right here. So I thought that was kind of neat. When I did watch Ouija Room recently, and I kind of liked it. It was pretty good. And I noticed the cast in this film, and I was like, boy, do they look familiar. So I started doing research, and there they were, the people from Ouija Room, which I had watched. I believe I watched it last week. But now this film is not going to be for everyone. It's kind of not what I expected, but I did enjoy it because it seemed realistic. It is the kind of stuff that happens in everyday life. People get kidnapped, people get, found. Not many people do, but some people do. And, just the mind sort of psychological horror of getting to the bottom of where they were. It's not a great movie. Don't get me wrong. It is not a great movie, but I did enjoy it for what it was. And a special thank you for Mill Creek for sending me this copy again. And if you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.